Welcome to ELK, English Language Knowledge. Today we're going to talk about the pronunciation of the final letter S. Spelling is not an appropriate guide to pronounce the letter S at the end of a word. For example, in the words that follow, the letter S is pronounced in a different way. Okay? In all cases, the words end in an S, but the pronunciation of such S is different in each word. Okay, here it's like a Z, here it's S, and here is S. Okay, so the spelling is not something that we can trust in these cases. The pronunciation of the letter S at the end of a word really depends on the sound, not necessarily the letter. Okay, let's keep that in mind, immediately preceding the S. So if the sound immediately preceding the S is voiced, in other words, there is vibration of the vocal cords when we produce that sound, like the L in the word feels, then the S is pronounced as Z. If the sound immediately preceding the S is voiceless, in other words, there is no vibration of the vocal cords when we produce that sound, like the K in the word talks, then the S is pronounced as S. If the sound immediately preceding the S is one of these fricatives or affricates, okay, the ones that we have listed here, like the Ch in the word teaches, then the S is pronounced as is or is. Okay, so knowing the type of voicing, if the sound is voiced or voiceless, the sound immediately preceding the letter S at the end of a word is a helpful guide to pronounce such letter S correctly at the end of a word. Okay, so it is really important to review which sounds are voiced, which sounds are voiceless, in order to know how to apply the rule. So remember that the rule says that if the sound immediately preceding the S is voiced and not one of the exceptional fricatives or affricates, the ones that are here in a brown color, kind of golden color, those are the exceptional fricatives or affricates. Then if the sound immediately preceding the S again is voiced, then the S is pronounced as Z. Okay? So in other words, all these sounds that we see in green, okay, when we find them before the letter S at the end of a word, then that letter S is going to be pronounced as Z. Okay. If the sound immediately preceding the S is voiceless, then the S is pronounced as S. So we also have to keep in mind that that sound, yes, preceding the S has to be voiceless, but it cannot be any of the exceptional fricatives or affricates that the rule would not apply to, which would be the ones in brown again. Okay, so we only need to watch out for these 5 sounds in green when they are found right before the letter S at the end of a word. That indicates that that S is going to be pronounced. Now, if the sound immediately preceding the S is one of the highlighted fricatives or affricates in the chart next to this explanation, then the S is pronounced as an extra syllable, something like is or is. Okay, so all these green sounds, or these sounds highlighted in green, are the fricatives or affricates that if you find them preceding a final S, then the final S is going to be pronounced as an extra syllable. It's going to be pronounced something like is or is. And finally, we have a list of some sample words containing the final letter S. For example, the words dies, kicks, judges, runs, plates, glasses. As you notice, the pronunciation of the S at the end of each of these words varies depending on the preceding sound, on the sound that precedes the final S. That will be all for now. Have a good one.